Let's bring her up here, Jennifer.
Thanks for that. Did you get your new Catster in the mail today? They changed Cat Fancy's name to Catster now.
Yes, I heard about that.
It's not
I got her subscription for her.
Yeah. Okay. So, as per usual, I'm going to read some Dead Dad stuff because everything's always coming up Dead Dads in my world. So I'm going to read one really long poem and then a couple of short poems after that. Yeah, okay. So this is called The Fear Nows. I find my father in another quick fill miles away from home, cellophane crinkling as I finger the package while standing in line. He resembles the king of clubs, and I crease the edge so I won't be surprised. My oily hands make a bridge as the faces shuffle into one another, a familiar blur of black and red. In the rearview mirror, I check my chin for long, stray hairs, watch as people kick the snow from their tires. I rub the glossy cards against my cheek, flick them out the window one by one. His lung is deflating like a heart-shaped balloon. Be mine, it says. 6 pine trees line the edge of our yard, and it's a one-story White House next to Route 18. Maybe I could pump him full of air, let him tap against the water-stained ceiling. But he's sagging into his sad brown chair as I sweat into the receiver. A gurney rushes in and the oxygen mask creases into his skin. I try to remember the names of medications, of all the hospitals I've ever visited, but they all smell the same to me. The shoulder bag clicks and hisses as he pulls up a stool, orders a Black Label beer. Underneath his flannel shirt, the stitches run from sternum to stomach. In Pittsburgh, he spent days having a hole in his throat suctioned out, a third of his lungs removed. My father buys a small stack of rip-off tickets and lets me pull the tabs. We want 3 cherries with an arrow through the middle. I make a mental list of all the books I'll buy, see myself dressed in washed-out bell-bottoms, crop top, and big square shades. Best of all, I'll hire a driver to take the back roads so I can admire the rings of the haystacks in every field. The kitchen chairs scrape against vinyl tile, and a nurse says swab, says tongue. She isn't wearing a crisp white uniform or a tightly pinned bun. I eat handfuls of Skittles as my mother wipes the table, stacks papers into piles. He is propped up with pillows on a bed near the window, his face an ashy, glassless version of itself. I sit on the edge of the bed, and I can tell by his expression he knows who I am. I can't stop thinking about euthanasia as my hand strokes his bruised hand. How maybe we're all killing my father gently with each rub of the gums. I don't know anyone in Pittsburgh, but I have a dishwasher I never use and a balcony that overlooks hilly streets and rooftops. I call my father and he says, "It'll be all right." And I say, "Okay." It wasn't anyone's birthday and I didn't bake a lemon cake. Earlier, we'd watched How the West Was Won on the little TV in the kitchen. We're both just so worried all the time, my father looking out the sliding glass door as I prop my feet against the railing. When he hugged me goodbye, I could feel the bones in his chest line up perfectly with the bones in my chest. I stand beside the bed and look out at the nothingness that is gravel and snow. The room smells like a damp towel rolled into a ball. When my father breathes, the space between each breath grows into a memory. At a neighbor's window, watching him in the lamplight with clenched fists. The coworker's house filled with fleas and lice. The cigarette inches below the oxygen hose, gonna huff and puff and blow this house up. The cuts on his hands and the dog licking them clean. The crack of a beer tab and locking the bedroom door. until finally the blood recedes from his arms to his heart, the skin a pale yellow where it used to be dark. Okay, now I'm going to read stuff that's nothing like that, and not at all that depressing. Okay, so I'm going to read 3 more poems. This next one is called Overture of Longing because my manuscript's due Monday and everything has to have a title, so that'll probably change, but for the moment, that's what it's called. So, Overture of Longing. Fact. I am long repelled in my off-season ugliness. My too many fucks to name vulgarity stains the flannel sheets in imperfect circles, as if my child hand drew a lopsided smiley face in the center. I keep tracing outside the line of where you've been. Fact. I want to be what you want me to be without changing. A woman slathered in honey, lying in a forest of unbearable trees, like an overture of longing to have soiled soaked skin be licked up whole. Fact. I am susceptible to any vulnerability. Backbone swelling in the insistent sun, as slow as a leak in a Goodyear tire. It's easy to order another shot of Jameson and think about you jerking off, or how the flakes of sugar stayed stuck to the corner of your mouth. Fact. I am a negative of a photograph, thin-coated and overexposed. You can barely make out this remembering, a face like the trail of a plane in flight. Fact. I am impressionable to a point, willing to hoe a garden of baby dolls, their empty sockets and dust-clean dresses collecting in your backyard. I'm drinking a glass of milk as the ice melts, and I almost forget that you don't feel a thing for me. Okay, so this next one is one of those ones where the title bleeds into the first line of the poem. So it's called I Can't Stop Listening to That Big Sean Song. I can't stop listening to that Big Sean song and singing I got a million trillion things I'd rather fucking do, while driving as recklessly as my 2-door Yaris can manage. I look at Craigslist personal ads in other cities, Portland, Denver, Asheville, Ann Arbor, but there are creeps everywhere, and besides, cost of living is what really matters. Sometimes I think about how thin your hair will be in 20 years, whether or not you will have a pork belly, how I'd still sleep with you despite everything. I dreamt I hooked up with 2 of your friends, not at the same time, though both named Mike, and in one of the dreams, I was smoking cigarettes again, and I could be that woman easily. I wrote this when I was like not smoking cigarettes for 2 weeks, so. That's why poems are not nonfiction. I mean, like, are not nonfiction. Is that right? Am I saying it right?
They're not nonfiction.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, so this last poem I'm going to read is called Hot Dog Wedding. And it's kind of, like once I started writing it, I was kind of like, I wonder how many times I could put hot dog in a poem. and I don't remember what the exact count is, but I want to say at least 6 times it shows up. So yeah. Hot Dog Wedding. At the wedding, I eat hot dogs without a bun, eat so many I'm beyond full, and not even thinking about the absurdity of hot dogs at a wedding. Not even after your mother tells me you 2 are moving to New Amsterdam. You found a place there that allows little dogs, perfect for your min pin, and I almost choke on the grilled skin. But it's no surprise, really, you moving so fast with someone new. What's strange is I can't stop with the hot dogs. I mean, it's been years since I've had one, but more importantly, I realize I would never sit calmly while you read aloud vows. Surely I'd make a scene and one more dramatic than grease dribbling down my chin. When I text a friend about the dream later, I spell it hot dogs. An accurate representation and just one example of many things I mispronounce. Library, birth date, color for color, but refusing to say Warsh like my mother. And I know that New Amsterdam isn't really a place but a bar in Lawrenceville, and you aren't even dating anyone, but I woke up at 4 a.m. pissed, not because I dreamt you were getting married, but because you probably would have hot dogs at your future wedding.